So you already know how to lose body fat. Calories in, calories out, get 10k steps, progressive overload in the gym, eat your protein, prioritize sleep, all the fundamentals. But from what I can see when working with clients, information isn't the issue here. The issue is doing it consistently day in, day out. It's that internal battle between the part of you that knows this is the right thing to do and a part that doesn't want the rules and the structure and just wants to do whatever feels good in the moment. Even on some days when you do well, eventually that second voice creeps in and one small compromise turns into another, and before you know it, you're off track. And the truth is, getting lean demands a period where you're locked in and consistent, where nothing and no one, including yourself, can talk you out of it. Because if you're not consistent, nothing else matters. And in this video, I want to share 3 simple truths I tell myself to help me get into that locked in consistent state required to hit 10 to 12% body fat. This is honest, no BS advice I wish someone told me when I was starting out. So the first thing I always tell myself when I'm looking to lose fat is, it's just a phase. Yeah, it will suck, but it won't last forever. You'll be tired, you'll feel weaker in the gym, you're gonna have to pay more attention to your diet and make some sacrifices. You'll have situations where you already ate all your calories and it's late in the day, but your stomach is still growling and your brain is screaming for a snack. You might find yourself just staring at the kitchen pantry, looking for something, a protein bar, some peanut butter, anything. And in that moment, it almost seems like nothing else matters except feeling better right now. And I've been there. You start thinking, oh, you've done great this week, you're actually ahead of schedule, just have it, you can always do more steps tomorrow. And in psychology, this is called temporal discounting. As humans, we're biased to devalue the long-term goal that feels far away, and we overvalue whatever pleasure we can get right now. That slice of pizza now feels more valuable than being lean and healthy 6 months from now. This bias served us well in the past when our survival depended on prioritizing short-term gains, but in the 21st century, this is working against us. And every time you give in to instant gratification, it's not just a physical setback and some extra calories. It chips away at something much more important, your trust in yourself. It moves you away from being a person who can set a real goal and actually follow through. That's the hidden part no one talks about, and it's really the foundation of consistency. So next time you're standing in front of the pantry, ask yourself these 3 questions. Will I care about this decision in 10 minutes? Will I be proud of this decision in 10 hours? Will it move me closer to my goal in 10 days? Take a moment and zoom out. Don't let cheap dopamine prevent you from achieving a life-changing goal, because the foundation of success is delayed gratification. As the quote goes, if you don't sacrifice what you want becomes a sacrifice. Now, once you overcome that, I realize there's another mental barrier that's even harder to catch, and I see this hold back so many guys. In fact, the smarter you are, the more likely you're to struggle with this. And that's where the second truth comes in. You see, the more you know about fitness, the better you get at rationalizing the lack of results. I noticed this a few years into my fitness journey when I wanted to do a cut for a summer after a long bulk. At that point, I knew how to diet. I did it before, I got results, and I was confident. And that confidence ended up holding me back. I started cutting corners without realizing it. I'd slack on the food tracking, forget to weigh myself. After overeating on a weekend, I'd justify it by calling it a mini diet break to preserve more muscle. I was squeezing in more ice cream and snacks on training days, convincing myself I earned it. Instead of following the plan, I was rationalizing my way around it. And everything had a reason. And even sounded logical, but deep down, I knew I was lowering the standard, not because I didn't know better, but because I thought I was the exception. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was falling into what's called the overconfidence bias. I was overestimating my ability and underestimating how much I can still mess up. And here's the reality. Just because you've done some of this before doesn't mean you get to stop doing the basics. Act like a beginner even when you're not. Track your food and training, hit that like button, weigh yourself regularly, plan ahead and follow the process. A master is someone who never stopped doing the basics. And never forget that the basics are responsible for 90% of your results. Also, challenge your own logic. Ask yourself, would I accept this excuse from someone else? If the answer is no, don't let it slide just because it came from you. Because in the end, it's not just about knowing more. It's about doing the work even when you're smart enough to talk your way out of it. Now, this doesn't mean you never take a rest day or enjoy a treat. It means those are planned and thought out and not done impulsively when your brain tries to trick you. Now, the third truth for getting lean is probably the hardest one to accept, because after years of training, building habits, and breaking breaking mental barriers, a part of you starts asking, why is this still hard? You know the process, you've seen results, you've done it before, and yet there are still days it's very difficult and you don't feel like doing it. It's boring and repetitive. And this used to frustrate me. I think, shouldn't this be very easy by now? Shouldn't I be on autopilot? But after coaching hundreds of guys and 15 years into this, I realized something. A part of me will always want to take the path of least resistance. The excuses get quieter over time, but that voice never goes away. And what I've learned is that I can't base my ability to be consistent on how I feel, because some days you feel very motivated, other days you're not. And the thing I tell myself now during every fat loss phase is, you don't need to feel like it, you just need to get it done. You don't feel motivated, do it unmotivated. You feel tired, do it tired. You always feel better after the fact. And I've never met a guy who went to 10 or 15% body fat and then regretted doing it. In fact, what I often hear guys say is, I'm glad I pushed through, I'm glad I didn't give up, and I'm glad because I learned so much. The people who win the game of fitness aren't motivated all the time despite what social media wants you to believe. They're not waking up at 4:30 a.m. every day to start a 2-hour morning routine. We all have days where we're barely dragging ourselves out of bed. A day where it takes 100% of effort to get anything done. That's the reality. And the truth is, those days actually matter the most. Anyone can stick to a plan when they feel great. But when it's inconvenient, when it's boring, and when it's the last thing you feel like doing, that's the real test. Because deep identity change happens on those hardest days, when you show up despite the excuses and despite the discomfort. That's how you become the kind of person who keeps promises to themselves. And that's where results come from. Not hype, not inspiration from some fake social media post, but from real life proof that you're someone who follows through, building momentum with those small wins one day at a time. So next time you find yourself thinking, I'm just not feeling like it today, remember, that's the rep that builds the most discipline. It's a sign to double down and train your mind to do the work regardless of how you feel. And if you're interested in coaching and working with me to help you get lean, details for coaching are in the description below, so check those out. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.